Hello, hello, hello. I'm making a video with my baby dog together. He is in Paul's recliner chair, and next to him is Alien Spaceship One. And at the other end of the room is the baby dog. And I want to show it as long as the light is good. So I'm gonna show that right now, because that's a wonderful, wonderful painting of the baby dog, my baby dog, lounging on the lawn. That's a beautiful, beautiful painting next to the other ones that I made a long time ago. Looks very nice. So now I'm not showing you. I'm not showing you. Oh yeah, I wanted to show those also real quick. These here above the table. These above the table are packaging materials also, as most of that stuff is. The frog pond consists of packaging, styrofoam packaging, and an old squishy toy from the Dollar Tree store. Squishy frog that I used to make videos with. Soothing videos. And then it started leaking. And then I thought, oh, what the heck? I'm going to embed that into this styrofoam. I pour some acrylic paint into it, the pond water, and so now it is the frog pond. And the other ones are like egg carton type of cardboard molds that were holding something together in a box. And so I made these two pieces. These are very nice, and the one on the top is just a little cardboard box that I painted. And these two pieces there in the corner, they are actually canvas from Paul's mother, and Paul's mother has painted something on it, but looked like the paintings were not finished, so she was just experimenting with it. And I just thought, and I don't know if I would still do this today, but I mean, out of respect for Paul's mother, I should probably not have painted over this. But we had these paintings. We should have kept Paul's mother's stuff, but she painted something on it, like flowers and stuff. And it was wrong that I painted over that. Okay. But yeah, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so much worse even. I mean, I made so many mistakes in my life where I wasn't attuned to others. So, and I have learned since then. So, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes in decision making and stuff like that. And so, yeah, those are two canvas paintings together. And then above them are styrofoam packaging material again. And then in the glass cabinet, there's a bunch of clay figures and some very tacky thing, a tacky owl that was sent to us by mistake, and Paul wanted to keep it. So that owl is not my style, but I thought, what the heck, we'll put it into the glass cabinet. And no, most of that stuff is drawings that I made, some photos of former artwork that I put into a frame, and I painted jars and cardboard boxes, and I also formed something out of with Sculpey and with putty and all of that around cardboard boxes as well. I used cardboard boxes as a filler, basically. So I don't know if this is gonna show, but it still shows fairly well. These are jars that I have painted over the years and put them all up there. The space there is just like made for it, and it looks really nice. So we're gonna leave this in here when we sell the house because it looks nice. It looks like the perfect kitchen decoration. So that brings art into the kitchen, and I really like that. This is really cool. So, and then I have another painting in here, the Blue God in the washroom. So, and oh, I'll show this here. This one, since the light is okay. So this is the clown. The clown is a cardboard box that I taped like hoses and like bubble wrap and stuff like this around. Taped it all on with duct tape and made a big mouse out of it and an eye. And this is also styrofoam packaging material. And then I have another one here on the refrigerator and the other refrigerator. This is the Blue God in dog form and person form. So, large cardboard box that I made somewhere in 2011 or 2012. And then, of course, the staircase. I've shown this several times before with all of my stuff in there. The wallpaper is peeling off. I don't know if Paul's gonna fix this. This one here is called the inwardness meditation. No, this is called the ego dissolution funnel, and that's the inwardness meditation process. So the idea came from a lady that had been sucked out of an airplane and fell to her death, and that's really, really horrific. And she was actually shredded as she was sucked out of the airplane. So that story I thought was very, very shocking. And then I thought, so okay, I'm gonna make this into a painting that stands for a person falling from the sky and landing in a palm tree, and I guess no longer alive, just hanging in the palm tree. And I kind of had this vision of a woman hanging in a palm tree with her stiletto shoes still on. So I don't know anything about that lady that was sucked through the airplane, but I don't know anything really about any of these people that fell fell from an airplane. There were several women that have fallen from an airplane, and one woman survived in the Andes Mountains and fell into the jungle. And a German girl that was from a German colony, I guess, in South America. Juliana is her name. She survived. She was the only survivor. And she made it out of that jungle and got help from some fishermen. Yeah, that's really a dramatic story. So, but this whole process kind of ties in with, if I translate that into, it's sort of like a parable, okay? It ties into this thought of the inwardness of the ego dissolution funnel. So if we fall from an airplane, our ego really gets shredded. So, and then we're really just dangling in a palm tree, and there is no ego anymore. There's no idea of I or I importance or anything. That's just me dangling in the tree, either dead or alive, but either way, that will really shred the ego. So, and we can do all of that without falling from an airplane. So this is just sort of like it is used as a symbol for ego dissolution. And I want to get more into parables. So that was my idea for the video today, to get into parables, or like metaphorical stories that tie in with one another in a specific way, to teach something about inwardness, contemplation, and reason also. Most people, that's what I see, and this is not an accusation, I see that most people don't use reason. They're just driven by emotions. Okay. And we need to become very clear that we can't go through life anymore just being driven by emotions. I know how difficult it is. I'm going through life emotionally, very emotionally. But I don't want to be driven by those emotions. I want to funnel all of this into wisdom and art. Okay, so that's my goal. There is my sewing. There are my sewing tables. And this is my new project here. It's called True Love. It's not finished yet. I'm still working on it. And I made a couple of pieces with wood, like wood scraps and stuff. And these are all cardboard boxes. This one here, The Cameraman, that's the title. That is painted also on the back as well. There's another cameraman on the back. So this is just holding the curtain up. And that's the blue god, of course, in blue, the cameraman. And I made this originally to put a tablet in it, in order to stand next to me while I was painting on this wall. I was painting the real large painting that I have in the living room, the two pieces that were standing up here, and I worked on that for over a year. And sometimes I would be painting here, and this cameraman with the tablet and it would be standing next to me filming me while I was painting. So I have those videos way in the past on my channel, Nikki Loves Dogs, and older and much older channels as well that are dormant now. So this is also tying in with the ego dissolution. This is the blue god funneling energy into a brain. And this one here is called The Horse is Taking a Mud Bath. This horse I modeled after, cartoonishly of course, I modeled after a horse in the high desert, a female horse that I love so dearly, and we always go and give her an apple or carrot when we go over there. And the one above is called, I forgot the titles now, I think the healing process. So healing body and mind. This is the blue god in dog form. Okay, this is the flower garden. And the blue god upside down. And many little pieces also. Little pieces. This one here, I made this one here after Kenny died, and that was the first painting I made after Kenny died. And this is called the grieving process. So, and this is the Tesla space shuttle here. And this is the clown and the blue god in person. And this is a dog I wanted to rescue, but because of the virus situation, they did not adopt dogs out to other counties. So we were stuck with our own county, and we didn't find the right dog. That this dog here, I believe, was either a Staffordshire, is a Staffordshire also, or an American Bully. I'm not 100% sure, or a mix of all of those. So, but then eventually we did find the right dog to take home. So it took us a very long time because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to take a pit bull type or a European Basset Hound, but since there are only pit bull types in the animal shelters, we decided, okay, then that's what we have to take. We can't expect a European Basset Hound to end up in an animal shelter when they cost $4,000. So, okay. And we didn't want to give the breeder money for a good reason, because there are so many animals in the animal shelters that need a good home. Okay. And they are on death row, and they need someone to take them home. And then people go and spend $4,000 on yet another puppy that was put into this world, when there are actually billions of dogs waiting for someone to come in and take them home. So I just feel, the idea is, it just feels selfish, and it feels unethical to buy a dog from a breeder. So I don't want to do that. I mean, I admit that I have played with the thought, because I just I wanted another European Basset Hound like Dave. I want that so bad. You have no idea. But then my mother instinct, of course, and the animal rights activist in me says that that's wrong. You can't give a breeder who just keeps on putting more and more puppies into the world, and we don't know what's going to happen to them. And then there are so many like him in the animal shelters. So it was a clear thing for us. We had to go to the animal shelter. And that makes me feel better, So we saved a life. And I recommend to other people to save a life as well. And I'm infinitely grateful to Jimmy Donaldson that he did this project with the animal shelter and getting every single dog in the animal shelter adopted out, and even paying for billboards, huge billboards on the street and on freeways with the photos of each individual dog. One billboard poster for each dog, and then people will drive by, and that really widens the chance for someone to see their dream dog there. So normally they would not get the chance to see the dog because, even if people are thinking about adopting a dog and they go on the internet, they go on different websites and they check out the animal shelters somewhere locally around them, and some maybe in a range of 2,000 miles even. So it takes some time to go through all of the photos but yeah, people should do this for sure, but I guess a lot of people don't even do that, and so they drive down the highway, they see this poster, and they see a dog that they find very cute, and they decide, okay, so I'm gonna go over there and check that dog out, and see how this goes, and then I can adopt the dog. So this is this is absolutely super, and it's an amazing initiative. And this is an ongoing thing, of course. He gets these things rolling, and it's fantastic. And a lot of people should jump on board with that and help him with that, and be inspired by that, and do that in their own community as well. So these videos that he makes are infinitely inspiring and uplifting and positive, and they make the world a better place. Okay, so I want to talk about I made this sweater myself, by the way, out of fabric rests. When I have fabric rests like these, they are so cute, so I don't throw it away, and I decide, okay, make something with it. A nice, warm, cozy sweater and scarf, and a sweater that goes over my hips, which is very important. I have a long back. Most t-shirts and sweaters are like 2 feet too short for me. Yes, you are my everything. Yes, you are my everything. Kiss her. Kiss her. Kiss her. Kissy, kissy. Kissy, kiss him. Kissy, kiss him. So yeah, he is the reincarnation of Casey Kasem, that radio host in LA. Most people are not gonna believe this, but I know he is because I can see it. I can see the soul. I can see this. Yes, he is Casey Kasem, reincarnated. Yes, an amazing guy. Yes, look at that beautiful chest with the freckles and spots. Very short hair, very, very nice. He feels great. Very nice, like a wetsuit, sort of. It's really great. Yes, there's a kitty cat out there. No, I always say that. And Casey Kasem, that sounds like kitty cat. So when I say Casey Kasem, he looks out the door. So yeah, I've been thinking about this today. So when I woke up, I've been thinking about parables and comparisons. So what are comparisons, and we can use comparisons and parables and metaphors in order to learn something, in order to use our reason and abstract thinking processes. And we see comparisons and analogies, so parables, something that has the same principle that it wants to teach. So I had these thoughts about these parables, and I was thinking about, I'm not showing you, I was thinking about this. I'm gonna start with the Buddhist story. So there's a story in Buddhism that they keep telling in order also to teach people to use reason. And this story is analogous to something else that I wanted to bring up. So then we can see this is what an analogy is, or a parable, basically, or something that functions on the same principle, and something that we need to learn from it. So there's this Buddhist story of a man. It's a modern Buddhist story of a man losing his car keys. He parks his car somewhere in a neighborhood. It is at night. He loses his car keys, and he just can't. He doesn't have a flashlight, and he is tapping around with his foot and tapping with his hands, and he just can't find the car keys. So then he sees a lamp post about 100 feet away down the street, and he closes the door to his car. That's all he can see, and he walks over to the lamppost, and he starts looking for the car keys there under the lamppost. And the lamppost was shining light down in a specific radius, and he just keeps on for hours and hours and hours, circling that lamppost radius, looking for the car keys over there, 100 feet away from his car. So suddenly someone comes over and says, "What are you doing? Are you looking for something?" And the guy says, "Yes, I lost my car keys." And the other guy says, "Where did you lose the car keys?" And the guy says, "Over there, somewhere in or around my car." And the other guy says, "So then why are you looking for the car keys here under this lamppost, which is like 100 feet away from your car?" And the guy says, "Well, because this lamppost shines light down, and I don't have a flashlight, so because the lamppost shines the light down in a specific radius, then I can see Now I can see the ground because of the light from the lamppost. And the other guy says, but your car is 100 feet away from there and you didn't lose the car keys here under the lamppost. And the other guy says, well, but at least here I can see now. And so that's why I decided I'm just gonna continue to look for my car keys here under that lamppost. So this is a made-up story, of course, kind of like very simplistic, and it stands for, it is supposed to teach us something. It's supposed to teach us that it is an analogy for stupid decision making. Yeah. So, and that happens a lot in the world. So I see most people, and I'm not the only one who saw that. That's why they came up with this story, with this analogy of stupid decision making. So just because it is more convenient to do something that doesn't get you the results that you are looking for, doesn't mean you should do that convenient action, right? Because he can look there forever for the car keys, he will never find the car keys. So, and the same applies for all kinds of things, in life. I see all kinds of stuff happening where people will, I don't know, let's say they work in a factory, in a chocolate factory, and there are the pralines coming down the conveyor belt. And I saw this, just using this another analogy now. And I saw a clip of that. There was a movie somewhere in the 50s, and some kind of comedy film, and a woman was working there, and then something happened to the conveyor belt, and something went wrong with the conveyor belt, and it sped up the speed, and so then these pralines were piling up, and the lady didn't know how to manage that situation, and then she decided, that would be the best idea would be if I just eat the pralines, right? So obviously that is another stupid decision. So this is the same type of thing, and people do these kind of things all the time, like just someone taking drugs, is part of those stupid decision making mechanisms, like, I don't function well, let me take drugs, or pharma drugs, or the entire pharma industry is based on this stupid decision making. You don't function well, then take Paxil or Zoloft or Seroquel. I've been on all of these things in the past. It doesn't work, okay? It almost destroyed my liver, so I had to quit all of that, okay? So it was not smart, and then we think, let's go to a smart psychiatrist. Like, this guy must be smart because he studied medicine, he studied all of this, he studied the body, how the body functions. But here's the catch: the pharmaceutical industry had, a long time ago already, completely clawed the entire medical establishment, just like that. Clawed it. Okay. And that's why they call that study subject medicine. They should call it pharma medicine. That would be really the correct thing. Yeah. So the same thing as someone who is selling pharma drugs in a drugstore, basically. Those in Germany, at least, those people go through the same school. So, and they know a little less about anatomy, but still, you study medicine. You think you you're learning something about anatomy, about biology, human biology, or if you study veterinary medicine, you're learning something about the dog body or animal bodies, and then the farmer industry has hijacked that as well. So, and then you think, oh yeah, again, stupid decision making. So I am just gonna accept that full force, full circle, and so this is apparently how I'm going to fix someone, or fix an animal by giving them pharmaceutical toxic drugs. And it doesn't work, okay? This does not work. It ruins the liver and the kidneys. And so that's stupid decision making, So more stupid decision making, and more also particularly often based on believing a propaganda or a religion or whatever, just latching onto the bandwagon of other people. That's more stupid decision making. So then I was thinking about African slavery earlier, and well, first of all, slavery, that's another stupid and cruel decision making, very, very stupid and very cruel and very gruesome and very unethical and very horrific. Whatever slavery is out there, it is horrific. And what I particularly wanted to highlight in the same regard as the man looking for the car keys under the lamppost when the car keys are definitely not there. Okay, so just because it's more convenient, he can see there. So cowardness functions in the same way. Okay, so now we're getting into psychology, and the car key thing is just an example, okay, of stupid decision making, and just functions sort of in order to get us thinking, maybe we do things out of convenience a lot, maybe I live here because it's more convenient, but this is not where I want to be. I'm not free from this. I'm not exempt. Okay, so, but I'm here because it is somewhat convenient, but living here doesn't make me happy. But it is what it is. The alternative would be much worse. So being homeless in the van and not being able to, not even having a dog. I can't take the dog away from him. No way. I could never do this. I can't take anything away from Paul. I love him. He's like my dad. But yeah, it's not the ideal situation. It's not making me very happy. We're trying to arrange each other in this lifestyle as good as we can. At least I give my best. I really want to give my best. Paul is not. Paul is more narcissistic. Okay, so, but I can't expect anything from anyone. This is just what it is. But to get into cowardness, the subject of cowardness, in the same sense of, I'm a bit of a coward with this, I'm not very courageous. I have a lot of fear. I'm chickening out, and I had a lot of opportunities in my life where I passed them up because I listened to Paul and because I listened to my own insecurities, my own fear, my ego. And I listened to Paul's ego and Paul's insecurities and Paul's fear of whatever, this might not work. Oh, but you know what? Sometimes we should try something and see if it works. Then we can only find out if something works if we actually give it a try. But Paul and I were not going very far out of our security radius, out of the comfort zone. So we're among those that risk the least. And when I drive super carefully. So you better believe it. Paul doesn't drive that carefully. He takes things too much for granted, and then I get mad, and I have to tell him to keep his focus on the road and stay further away from the middle. So what if someone else is reckless and drives into you? You should always stay a little bit further to the right. So that I don't mean this necessarily politically. But politically you should stay really focused exactly in the middle lane, right? Directly on the lane, in the middle of the lane that you're driving on. So politically, like as centered as you can get, okay, and not be persuaded by someone else. That would be another form of stupid decision making. Just because they said so, it must be so. No, that's like the lady with the conveyor belt. The pralines are coming. Let me eat them because they're just that way. I can cut down on the amount of pralines piling up into a big pile. So obviously that's not reason, right? So most people don't do things out of reason. They listen to someone else. That's really the biggest problem of all, that people are listening to someone else. Someone else told me, and now I have to do it, and maybe I don't even believe it, but I do it anyway because I want to be liked, or I don't want to lose my job, or I want to stay in this whatever community and congregation or whatever, or religion or whatever, and do it like they say, do it like the Romans do when you're in Rome. I don't agree with that statement. I simply don't agree with it. That has not moved people forward at all. Burning witches, another form of stupid decision making. They burned all their scientists. They burned they burned the smartest people that they had. Yeah. Out of stupid decision making, out of religious indoctrination, out of someone else's fear imposed into your own mind. So we have to question these things. This light is not super complimentary, obviously, but one gets older, so don't give me a hard time about it. So yeah, one gets older, and I refuse to be ashamed about getting older. Simply refused. I refuse, just for the principle of it. It would be really stupid decision making to go under the knife, to get plastic surgery just so you can get the bags. You put some fat from here in here, then you can smooth this out or something, So just so that the haters don't come at you like this. Oh, she got tea bags. Tea bag. Hey, tea bags. That's the same as with the witch hunt, They would take like a 30-year-old, very beautiful woman off the streets, declare her a witch because some other woman's jealous of her and says, she's a witch. I'm telling all of you clergy people. So then that was happening in the 1600s. Then they would take her off the street, and I saw some fairy tales about this, some movies in the past in Germany, German films that were depicting this, and heartbreaking, and just any innocent, beautiful girl, that someone else is jealous of, and all they have to do is, and and go to the clergy people and say, that's a witch. And then they would come there. And Sharia law is the same thing as the Inquisition. It's just happening today. Okay. That's why I say get rid of that danger before it escalates. Get rid of it. Really. Ban it before it escalates. We know better today. We should know better today, right? So we should know better to not let men put women into shut doors and cut their heads off if they go on the internet. We should know better than that, right? So, but people, they don't connect the dots. More stupid decision making. Okay. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, they would take a beautiful woman, 30 years old, they would put her in a dungeon, okay, to torture her for, let's say, maybe the executioners didn't have the nerve to kill her. So instead they put her in a dungeon. That's what they did with Joan of Arc in England. And then they have their unlimited rape supply. And then they go in there, they rape her, she gets pregnant in these unabhorrent conditions in the catacombs of some royal court or whatever. And there were no women's rights, there were no civil rights, there was no justice. It was savage. Okay. And yeah, and oftentimes the woman would die from illnesses or from all kinds of things. She'd be tortured to death by the guys that would come in there and rape her, or she would die during childbirth, all kinds of things, you know. Never had any support, or she would die from bladder infections and serious infections from being hypothermic, or all kinds of horrible stuff. They would keep a witch in a dungeon. She was originally beautiful, and just at age 35, 5 years later, she would be taken out of the dungeon. They never took care of her. She was never able to take care of her in there. She was never given the chance to take care of herself. And then in just 5 years, she will be taken out of that dungeon to show the public what a witch looks like. And everyone on the marketplace will go with their fingers. Ha 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 ha. That's how a witch looks. Look at that ugly witch. Look at that. She can't even take care of herself. Okay. That reminds me of the haters. Okay, the haters. I have real severe haters. I have haters that impersonate me. Some of them even told me, like an arsonist who would go in a bar, and they have a video on there, they have TV on in the bar, and they are showing that forest burning up, and the arsonist, they are sitting there snickering, drinking his whiskey, and at some point the arsonist gets a little bolder, and because the need to brag, that is what he did, that made him significant suddenly. Okay, I'm not making fun of it, or it's irritating, but you know, I have to educate the public about this kind of mind state, the sadistic mind state, the arsonist mind state. At some point, he has to brag about it, because he did this in the first place because he feels insignificant. So now he has to brag. So he tells everyone he did it. And they don't even believe him. And then he goes berserk and he says, yes, I can prove to you that I did it. So at some point, someone will call the cops, and they show up, and they put him into a vice grip. They put him into their interrogation room, and after 10 hours of interrogating, well, I don't know if that's how long they do it, but you know, at some point he's gonna give in, and he's gonna tell them that he did and where that was and so on, and he will go to prison. So in the ideal situation today, people don't even go to prison anymore. A white person would go to prison. A white and an Asian person who would do this would go to prison. The other ones don't. Because we live in an extremely corrupt, extreme corrupt political system, not just in this country here, but worldwide. And the politicians, they want to be re-elected, so they create laws. And they will be easy on crime for certain demographics in order to get their votes. And that's how corrupt it is, okay? More stupid decision making. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And so another thing, so this is what I wanted to talk about in regards to slavery. So African slavery started with African slaveholders in Nigeria. So there was a lot of commerce. There were a lot of Viking ships that would dock on there, and they would do some trade of this and that, of resources. And so then eventually some of these Viking people, they were not all really good people, okay? But maybe most of them were kind of brutal. But the African black slaveholders, the Africans, very black Nigerian men, okay, that were keeping black slaves from Nigeria in a cage, right, and or shackled with a ball and chain. They were the most brutal to their slaves. This is a fact, okay? Research it. They were the most brutal. And so then they sold some of those, and people from Europe should not have accepted that. They should stand up against that. They, even if they come there to this other country, they should say, it doesn't matter whether I'm in Rome, I'm not going to do like the Romans do if I see injustice happening, right? But people are convenient. People, they go like, oh, cheap labor forces, let's put them all on our ship and bring them to our country. And I'm sure I have a tiny little bit of some black great grandmother in me from Nigeria. I'm sure I do. Okay, I'm pretty sure. That was a long time ago, though. Okay, and so maybe that's how the Medusa comes about. So Medusa is not a Stockholmer. Okay, so the people that are the native Stockholmers, the pure blood Scandinavians, they don't defend themselves. That's more stupid decision making. Having Stockholm syndrome is more stupid decision making. You have to defend yourself at least when you're being attacked. Use your viciousness for that. Okay, but this is what I'm aiming towards in terms of this subject, slavery. People don't. Okay. People, I'm not showing you. My gosh, I'm only showing the painting. Jesus. Oh man, this is annoying. So, most people, and this is what I want to talk about, most people buckle to the top and tread to the bottom. That's more stupid decision making. And that is out of convenience. They figure, let me tread down on someone who can't defend themselves so that I can repair my ego, narcissistic repair. Right? I don't dare to go after the one that has terrorized me, or that is running a tyrannical dictatorship over me. No, they have way too much power and they have their bodyguard. No, let me tread down on the ones. That's the mind state of the coward. That's the mind state of what Friedrich Nietzsche calls the last human. Okay. The person who is completely unempowered. That's unempowerment. And that is the person who will go with the stupid decision making, with the convenience over reason, laziness, intellectual laziness over reason, and over ethics, over love. That's what the average human does. Oh, it's just more convenient. I don't want to lose my job. I'm not going to speak out against injustice because my boss is on the other side and of that spectrum. My boss thinks this way, so I better think this way too, just out of convenience. Let me give in to the woke society out of convenience. It's injustice, but hey, I want to keep my job, in Hollywood. I wanna continue to work whatever as an actor, and I want my agency not to fire me, and I want them to look for jobs for me and apply for this or that role or whatever it is, or if it's an entrepreneur, or if it's someone with some kind of TV show, or an interviewer, or talk show host. They don't want to lose their customers, so they'll blindly accept the mainstream propaganda, and they will just regurgitate what they have been told, and then out of that they make the world hell. This is a cascading effect. Okay? They make the world hellish. All of these people are involved in making the world hellish. If you see a crime and you are an enabler and you don't say anything, you don't do anything to interfere, to intercept with that crime, you make yourself equally responsible for that crime. Albert Einstein said that, and he's right. Okay, so more stupid decision making, So most people don't even know that the black slaves from Nigeria were coming from black slaveholders that were the meanest to them from anyone they have ever worked for. And so then some Vikings came over, and some other people, maybe from Spain, from different places, from France, from Portugal, they came over. Yeah, then the first settlers from the United States came over later on. Many of them consisted of Spanish, then mixed with Native American, then mixed with black, so many of them came over. They took those Nigerian slaves, and this is statistical fact. The slaveholders and any kind of slaveholders, any kind of employer, black employer or black rich person or black politician who was accommodating black slaves in their mansion or whatever. And some of them took full advantage, exploited people all the way to the core. Those were the most cruel to the slaves. So, and many slaves then ended up in Europe and the United States. Many ended up in some white people's homes. And most of those white people, most of those rather wealthy, the ones that could afford employees, most of those hired these black slaves and treated them exactly like they treated all of their other white employees. Okay. This is a fact. This is a statistical fact. Most people don't know that. Okay. They'll go, oh, these bad white people, these bad white people, what they did to the African slaves. What a horror. Yes, I'm sure there were some that were bad to them. No doubt about it. Okay. I'm not saying that there are no psychopaths among white or Asians or other races. Okay. There are psychopaths in all races. There are good people in all races. Okay. But this is a statistical fact that most white people that had black employees, even in the past, when they didn't have civil rights laws, they treated them just like they treated their other white employees. They treated them the same, they gave them the same, also the same accommodation, the same food, the same, also, I don't know how much they paid them, same money, I have no idea. They probably didn't pay them, any of them, very well. Okay, so as my mother said, during Nazi Germany, my parents have witnessed this. Nobody had food. Okay, so everyone was skin and bones at that time. Everyone. Not just the people that were put into prisons or concentration camps. They all were skin and bones. Okay? My mother set the facts straight with this. So, and that totally contradicted what I learned in school. Okay, so when she said that, and then I heard a couple of more things that didn't add up with what we learned in school, then I thought, okay, so obviously what we learn in school is, to the most part, bias and has been tweaked here and there, okay, in order to create a narrative that is being pushed down into history, that is being propagated out of convenience for a specific demographic again. Okay, so we need to question things. We really need to question stuff. If we don't, that's more stupid decision making. We have to question things. Same with the black slaveholders. People didn't even know about it because it's not even taught in schools. That doesn't fit the narrative of we are the victims and you are the perpetrators, right? No. It's not that black and white, literally. Okay? It has all shades in between. Let's use our Medusa for the good. Let's use our zestiness and our temper tantrums or the tendency for our getting a little irritated here and there. Let's funnel that into something good. Let's funnel that into justice, creating justice. And the people in the complete Scandinavians that have no traces of other ethnicities in them, they may have evolved into that what we know to be Santa Claus. Okay, I talked about this before in my videos. Santa Claus, who was that? That was the Good Samaritan. No, they are very good people, the Scandinavians. There is plus and minus and things. They are so good that they're literally behaving like a Buddha, and that may not always be so beneficial, particularly for those who feel very disappointed in what someone who breaks into their home and does to them and rapes them and does to their children, and they don't even defend themselves because they have evolved to be just 100% always good to everyone, including the person that is raiding their house. Okay, and out of that came the Stockholm syndrome. That's when someone, and that started in Stockholm, Sweden, very typically. So when Swedish people, or that's the prototypical, that's what I'm talking. I'm sure there are some Swedish people that don't do this, but there's a lot of Swedish people that the pure white, blonde, albino Swedish people that have evolved in this direction of Santa Claus, the Good Samaritan, the Laplander who would go out into ice and snow to bring people food, to bring food to every house. That's where Santa Claus story comes from. Okay, he went out there with the reindeer sled to bring food and supply to every house during the deepest depths of the Arctic circles. Okay, and these people evolved, at least in the past. There were not that many people that would come there from the south, so they evolved into the Good Samaritan. And they had to evolve into this because if they didn't, they would not have survived the cold winters. So they had to be Good Samaritans. This is a genetic disposition that happened simply out of adaptation. Okay, and now we have these people, and they still have the same genes, and they don't need to apply these characteristics anymore, because actually today these characteristics stand in their own ways, because they don't even defend themselves when they are being burglarized. They are too good. They are too kind. They will love their burglar. They will love their perpetrator. They will love their hostage keeper. Okay. They fall in love, literally, with their hostage keeper. And I wonder if a lot of those people are having sadomaso tendencies. Maso, not sado. So, and this is a statistical fact. The people from Africa, Middle East, India, the entire equatorial regions they have the tendency towards maso, and the people from the Arctic Circle have the tendency towards my brain reverses things. The people from the south, the equator, the people from India, Africa, Middle East have the tendency towards sadistic, and the people from the Arctic Circle have the tendency towards masochistic. Okay, because they love everyone. Okay, and that then stands in its own way, because you have to defend yourself, obviously. And it's also those people, the Stockholmers, who will tend to be liberals, who will tend to be on board with anything that is given to them. Not all of them. There are some very smart cookies among them that are also very sharp observers that will say no to all of that. But I think maybe the majority of them have the tendency, and this is genetic. I can't hate them. I can't hate anyone in the world. People evolved the way they evolved. Okay. These are biologically evolved tendencies and mechanisms in their brains. Okay, so the people at the equator, they didn't need to help each other in order to survive. Everyone could survive at any time, right? They wouldn't freeze to death at any time. Yeah. So They can do whatever they basically would do whatever they want, sleep anywhere they want, under a palm tree, at the beach, naked, and they're perfectly warm. Okay, so they can wash themselves in lagoons at the ocean at any time. There are plenty of amazing flowers growing there that they can use as shampoo. They have it's a paradise. Okay, and then here's the tragedy of that. They're in this paradise, and they don't even have the contrast. They don't even see what paradise they have, so they see this and they trash everything. They make this paradise that they live in at the equator and other warm countries, also subtropical areas, and then the desert region, this is another story. They had to fight over water, and then the mean one got the water source. So that perpetuated itself, but at the equator they didn't need to help each other. Everyone could survive. And then so this characteristic of the Good Samaritan, the Santa Claus, didn't apply at the equator, because of that paradise situation that they had. So, yeah, different people evolved. They're not all bad. There are some very sweet ones, but they didn't have to evolve. They didn't need to evolve to be extra attuned to their environment or to whatever was around them, so in order to survive. So they can just reach up into the tree and pick a fruit and eat it, so yeah. And out of that we evolve according to the situation that we live in. Okay, I have a lot of Scandinavian in me. I have a lot of oxytocin, but I have a Medusa too. Okay, I would say I have a fairly balanced brain in that way. I've been traumatized, so I'm dealing with that now. But I'm not a Stockholmer. I can get angry, but I'm not gonna get angry towards someone who I can just let out my frustration under the lamppost that shines the light to the ground, No. If I get angry at the right people. Trust me on that. So I will get angry at the tyrannical dictator, at the slaveholder, at the hate group, and it wouldn't matter to me what that hate group's ideology is, and who they go after, and who they themselves look like, what demographic they belong to, what ethnicity they belong to. It doesn't matter to me. If it's a hate group, it's a hate group, and I'm against it. Okay, you better believe it. So obviously, and so just to wrap the video up now, what I wanted to use this lamppost analogy to show what people will do. They will latch onto a bandwagon of something that is popular, and then they will go after the people they hire, the people that the woke, that Antifa, which consists of Muslims, they hire black people then to set forests on fire and kill white people. They actually hire them for it. And then these black people that will do these atrocities for their anti-far Muslim slaveholders, literally, they will go after the people that are the most convenient to batter. They will go into Marin County, just to use one example. That's in San Francisco. Marin County is extremely liberal and woke. Okay, they'll go into someone's house there, someone who supports their entire what they call a revolution, which is not a revolution. Okay, that's what Friedrich Nietzsche calls the last human. Okay, that is following something like this. No, they will go instead of going after someone who actually enslaves them, like the Muslim slaveholders. No, they identify themselves with those. They will even latch onto their religion. No, they will go after the people that are supporting their welfare, that are paying money, tax money, towards their welfare. Okay. They will go into someone's house who supports their affirmative action money, and they will kill the people in there, and they will set the house on fire, where a little white boy with his puppy dog on his lap burned to death in agony. Just putting things into perspective, okay? I want people to start thinking about all of this. Really start thinking about it. So then we can understand what is a metaphor, what is a parable, what is an analogy, okay? Now, the lamppost analogy is obviously harmless, but it definitely represents stupid and convenient ways of and intellectual laziness and all of that, okay? And much worse, as I already described. So I don't want to make the video too long. I hope this is food for thought for people. So peace and love.